Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year again. Series previews. These videos I enjoy making because I really enjoy analyzing the teams and seeing whether or not they can beat each other or not. Is actually a really fun thing to do. And the best part is I get to make 8 of these, so this is going to be a fun time. So we're going to start off with Boston versus Carolina. Bruins and the Canes. They've had quite a history this season. They've had quite a history playoff series altogether. 2019, the Bruins swept the Canes. 2020, the Bruins beat the Canes in 6 games. So these teams have a history in the playoffs. And they have a history this season, too. Brad Marchand drama with Vincent Trocheck. The Canes destroying them 6 or 7-1. It's been a pretty dramatic season for these two teams. And I can only imagine what another playoff series is going to hold for them. Now, the difference is from past years, I truly feel like that the Carolina Hurricanes can beat the Boston Bruins this season. Now, let's compare their regular season stats together. The Canes are 54, 20, and 8 with 116 points, have scored 278 goals, and have only let in 202, and they are first in the Metro. The Bruins, on the other hand, are 51, 26, and 5 for 107 points. They've scored 255 goals and have only let in 220, and they are fourth in the Atlantic. And that's interesting because when you look at past years, typically Boston's the better team in the regular season than the Hurricanes. This year, that is not the case. And I do think that's going to play a big role in what's to come for this series because I feel like back in the day when these teams played each other in 2020, Carolina was a much different and much kind of weaker team. So now let's compare their top scoring players, starting off with Sebastian Aho, 37 goals, 44 assists for 81 points. On the other side, you got Brad Marchand, 32 goals, 48 assists for 80 points. Obviously, Marchand has his drama with the Bruins this season. And Aho, it feels like he scores every game. I'm surprised he doesn't have 40 goals on his belt. He only has 37, so, there you go. On the other side, you got Svechnikov with 30 goals, 39 assists for 69 points. Then you got Pastrnak with 40 goals, 37 assists for 77 points. I feel like when you look at these two teams, statistically, the Bruins have players who have more points than a lot of the Canes players. But when you look at the Canes, a lot of them, it's pretty much just a team effort for them. They all have the same amount of points. They all have a pretty high point mark, but not too high, like McDavid level high. They have middle range, 60, 65 points. And then you look at Teravainen, 22 goals, 43 assists, 65 points. And then Bergeron on the other side, 25 goals, 20 assists for 65 points. Those two players, they're pretty identical points-wise. I'd say Bergeron probably gets the upper hand there. Vincent Trocheck's fourth in scoring with 21 goals, 30 assists, 51 points. And then you have Taylor Hall on the other side with 20 goals, 41 assists for 61 points. And then you look at the two defensemen, fifth in scoring, ironically. You got D'Angelo on one side, 10 goals, 41 assists for 51 points. And then you got McAvoy on the other side with 10 goals, 46 assists for 56 points. To be honest with you, I want to give offense over to the Bruins solely for the purpose of Pastrnak, Bergeron, Hall, pretty much that whole perfection line there. And I want to give depth over to the Hurricanes because they have a lot of other consistent scorers where they can rely on them if their top players aren't putting up points. Their depth guys can at least score some production to help their team out. Defense-wise, I think it's very close because the Canes have one of the most underrated defenses in the league. And Boston obviously has that powerhouse with McAvoy, Carlo, Grzelcyk, Hampus Lindholm, and others. So I don't really know who to give defense to. If I were to choose, I want to give it to Boston, but I don't want to underestimate Carolina's defense because Carolina's defense is dirty underrated. Now, lastly there, when you look at the goaltending side of things, you have Frederik Andersen for the Carolina Hurricanes, 35, 14, and 3, 2.17 goals against average, a .9 2022 save percentage. So he's obviously had a great year with the Hurricanes, but he's injured. So he's likely going to miss at least the first 2 games from what we've heard. So what do you do then? Your backup, Antti Raanta, 15, 5, and 4. 2.45 goals against average, a .912 save percentage. I'm not saying Ranta's a bad goalie, but if you're trying to rely on him for a whole series, let alone half a series, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Now, thankfully, they're playing Boston and not Tampa. Thankfully, Boston lost to the Leafs tonight, so yeah. And then when you look at Boston's side of goaltending, they actually have 2 pretty much starter, middle range starter caliber goalies. You got Linus Ullmark, 26, 10, and 2, 2.45 goals against average, and a .917 save percentage. Realistically, he probably starts game 1. But if you start Swayman, it's not a big deal. Like, these two goalies, I think, are caliber to, win their team games. And then you have Swayman on the other end, 23, 13, and 3, 2.37 goals against average, and a .915 save percentage. So, I don't know. I want to give goaltending to Boston, at least right now. If Freddie comes back, like, midway through, like, let's say, game 3, he comes back. Let's say the series is split. He comes back game 3. Carolina probably wins the series from there because Anderson is a big part of why this team has been good this season. So without him, I'm not too sure. Now, the final verdict here. Who wins this series? Truly, I'm going to go on for a little bit here. I don't really know. I feel like both teams can win this series. I want to give it to Carolina, though. I want to give it to Carolina. I would give it 100% to Carolina if Frederik Andersen wasn't injured for the first 2 games, at least the first 2 games. So I'm a bit worried when it comes to that. But apart from that, I think the Canes can take on Boston. No doubt. I think depth chart-wise, I think they're better than the Bruins. I mean, top 6, maybe not. But I think, like, overall, they have a better team than them. The defense comes close. But I think still, overall, they have a better team than the Bruins. And, I mean, as I said, if Freddie comes back, Carolina in 6. Easily. Like, I think Carolina can win this in 6. But then again, Boston has a history of winning at least one round in the playoffs. They've done it for the past, since they've made the playoffs back in 2015-16. Like, since then, they've just won at least one round in every single playoff year. So I really don't know who I would give this series to because, I mean, I don't want to say not Boston because Boston's proved me wrong before. But then again, I've picked Carolina for the Stanley Cup, so I'm going to go Carolina. Anyways, guys, that'll do it. Thank you all very much for watching. Again, I know the graphics, they're really not that good. I was trying to fix something, put something together. I don't like how it looks. I'll probably change it up for next year or probably round 2. So anyways, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know who you guys think will win in the comments below. By the way, in our link in the description is our bracket challenge, my Nordic 97 bracket challenge. If you guys want to join that, likely we're going to have over 100 people in that because I'm going to be promoting it on all my socials. So literally everybody's going to be joining that. If you have the best bracket, I will give you a shout out, give you a ton of other stuff, tons of other perms, and probably some other prizes. So anyways, that'll do it. Thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys